YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Path to the Plate is a research-based education program that helps consumers understand how their food choices impact their health by making the connection to agriculture, learning about how food is grown and produced, and how consumers can make better food choices for themselves and their families. Path to the Plate is all about dispelling myths and misconceptions. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for what camera's mine, Richard? Over there. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. I'm so glad you guys decided to join us because I was kind of vague about all what was going to happen today, and now that I've gotten a little more smartened up about it, and now I know what to expect somewhat. That was a really bad facial expression. He goes, yeah, you don't know what to expect. Anyway, we have with us the Teen to Adult Challenge. Is that it?
Adult to Teen Challenge, yep.
Adult to Teen Challenge.
Yep.
Okay, you go that way. All right. So you get them in as an adult and you try and let them walk out of there like they feel like a teenager again. Is that it?
That's right.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
good.
That's a good
I like that analogy.
Show over. That was really it. That's all we
Okay.
got.
I told you I was brilliant. I told you. No, it's so fascinating because I kept thinking. I was thinking in my mind like, here's what is Robert going to do? Robert Sherman. It's so funny. I started to call you Richard. You're not Richard. He's Richard, and you're John, and you're Armando.
Ricardo.
Yeah,
Ricardo.
Close,
I'm
it's
sorry.
close. Very close.
I was so
Almost there.
Armando follows my show on Tuesday, so that's why it's Thursday and why I don't know why I thought you were Armando. No, Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
What's your last name?
Zelaya.
Delia.
Zelaya. Zelaya. Yep.
Delia. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you don't want to hear my whole
Zelaya.
name.
Try just try me.
Ricardo Jose Gerardo Zelaya Nunez.
Ricardo.
So when I first moved to U.S., I went to the bank and the lady told me, "We'll just call you Rick." I said, "Fair enough."
That's a beautiful name. Okay, so anyway, John is the director, and Ricardo is the developer, and Robert hangs out and tells his story to everyone, and it makes them feel better. It makes them feel like, oh, okay, I feel better about my situation. Thanks.
Yeah, that's really the skinny of what I do.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I do admissions and help get guys in.
So you do the admissions now. Now, do you go out and look for people and say on the corner and go like, "Hey, are you having a bad day? I can help you out," or do preachers? You said preachers will tell people to come to you.
Yeah. So people come in all sorts of ways to us. Normally it's through family and word of mouth, phone calls. They'll call up and make an appointment or just talk to me over the phone to find out about the program. But there's a lot of people that are searching online, looking for a solution to the problem that their family member or husband has with drugs and alcohol. Normally is what brings them there, and so they come from all different works. And sometimes, yeah, if I'm out in the street shopping, grocery shopping, sometimes, and I see somebody who like I feel like my benefit from the program, I will definitely stop and talk to them. That's the way the gospel's preached and spread.
That's
and
true.
So that's the way we operate.
That's good. You just have a feeling about it. They're projecting to you.
Sure.
They're talking to you. That's so cool. And I think that you guys have to have such a heart, such patience, so much that it's, and you probably, because you've all said that you've had something happen in your life and it's put you in a position where you can certainly counsel, you can certainly, of course, be very patient with that person who's having the same kind of problem you had. And that is, boy, we don't have a lot of that today. So that's why people are so hungry for it. And because you're so helpless. And I have told, like, my grandchildren and children who are dealing with somebody that's doing drugs or on drugs or alcoholics, and they're so frustrated. They said, you can't do anything with them. I said, well, you're not dealing with them anymore. That's not them. That's not who you met. That's not who you liked or you fell in love with and all that. This is a different person now. So you're going to have to come at it with a different, attitude until you can break through to the one that you met. And I thought that was such sage advice until you get put in this position that someone's, like flipping out on you and you're going like, I have no idea what to do with you. There's no cage in the back. There's nothing. I can't. You're. I don't want to call the police on you or anything like that. But it would be nice if I knew who to call. And do you do house calls?
I don't think we're opposed to it, but normally
doesn't that scare you about domestic violence? The police don't like to go to domestic violence.
We do visit jails, and we're talking about doing some prison ministry here. In the future.
Perfect. Yeah.
So in that sense, we do house. It's kind of a captivated audience.
It is, and there's people that have guns for standing next to you if there's any problem. And a lot of people don't have that. They're just so scared to death, and they don't know what to do. And if they had your phone number, they'd be calling you for sure. And so that's what we want to do, is we want to make sure people are aware how to get to you. And but we want to know your stories and all, and then what the process is, and what do you take them through? What is your line of attack? Not attack, but what do you do to get to or through to them? I'll start with John. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my story really isn't any indifferent than anybody else's. It was a struggle, and I had a pastor who called me where I was at. I was at a girl's house with a stolen car, and I was 20 years old at the time, and he called and he said, hey, I want to take you to get French fries.
Oh, my word.
Now, a young guy, who else wouldn't, say yes to get French fries?
With a pastor?
But I was very angry at the world. I was involved in gangs. Anything I could get my hands on, I would deal at that particular time. Always in fights. Very adamant about taking hallucinogens all the time to escape this world, and actually just to get a sense of a false power, escape reality. But I wanted something that was real in my life. So I went to get French fries, and
did you go in the stolen car?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Okay.
It might have been a setup.
Okay.
But it wasn't too much longer after that everything began to fall apart. And that's the beauty of when we share our stories. We'll share how it was successful for a moment, but then things start to fall apart. And so all that is God orchestrating to place you into His calling. And so that's the beauty of our stories, as each one of us possibly will share here, is that God orchestrates. And so every time a student comes into the program, we always say to them, this is an ordained moment. This isn't just by accident. God ordained this for you to come.
That's right.
And all the answers that you've been looking for, it's set right here. That God loves you, You have a Heavenly Father that wants to wrap His loving arms around you. And quite often, more than not, there are parental issues or all those, and it starts to dismantle right then.
Mm-hmm.
And they begin to see that we're not just some therapists that don't understand. We understand the pain. We understand what's like to sit behind a building and just weep. Consider suicide. Wish that somebody would shoot us. Wish that there was something different in our lives. Or maybe even said, we'll never change, or as my mom would say to me, you'll die by the time you're 21. But here I am in my 50s.
Oh, no, you're not.
And quite different.
No,
and so, you have three men right here that we know what it's like to just weep. And sometimes death might have been better. But God. That's what we always say is but
Isn't
God.
that the truth? That is so, so true. I love that there is such a spiritual aspect to all of this. I don't know how you could do something like this without having something for them to lean into it and say, it's going to be okay. Because it takes a lot of faith, but they recognize your faith, and they want to be like that. They want to feel like that again. And that's what they want. And so as soon as Satan gets wind of it, then he wants to come in and dismantle what you probably started in them, and then family and friends and people get their ear and stuff like that, and that's Satan whispering in their ear.
What our positions is that we've gone from drug dealers to hope dealers.
Very
and so
good.
you saw me as I walked in with my hat, and that is exactly what we're instilling. We're bringing hope within reach of people that otherwise don't see any hope.
Right.
So we're hope dealers.
They talk about despair is the only sin that can't be forgiven, and that's what is it's really true in the sense that if you can't ask for it, if you don't believe that it's even going to work or anything like that, that despair draws you away. And so if you all bring that back to them and make them see, a lot of times it's like you feel like unless you see it, do you really believe it? And but it will, and that's what is just to me so extraordinarily great about what y'all do is to try and that little seed that's that you want to grow and thrive, and that's what y'all help the guys with, and women with too.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just guys, but it's mostly guys. But Ricardo, do you think I know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, yeah, and same story, as them. 26 years ago, I was just a drug addict, lost in the streets of El Salvador, Central America.
You were in El Salvador?
Yes, ma'am. No hope, no future. I thought I was going to die as a drug addict, and somebody told me about Teen Challenge. And I'm like, well, I already been to the psychologist, you name it, hospitals, all kinds of, because when you get there, at that point where I was, you really want to get out.
Right.
But you can't get out. That's the problem. So there's only one person that can change your life, and that's Jesus.
That's right.
So,
amen, brother.
So when they
That's
told me that, I'm like, well, I already tried everything, and they told me, have you ever tried Jesus? I said, who is that?
What drug is that?
Yeah, let me try that one. Yeah, because I never tried it before. But so I went to the program, I went to the center 26 years ago, 6 a.m. in the morning. I came to the door. I said, this is, my name is Ricardo. I need help. And they told me, you came to the right place. So,
I feel like that baby in the basket.
Yeah.
There you go.
I asked them,
another one.
how long do I have to stay here? They told me 1 year. I'm like, 1 year? That's not possible. They told me, well, you already spent 10 years of your life. Can you give 1 year to Jesus, for you to,
Right.
your life is going to be changed and transformed.
That's right.
And I said, well, let me try. And it's been 26 years since I made that decision, and here I am, now helping others
I
that
think
are
they got
listening
you.
right now.
That's great.
People probably are listening, they have no hope. And Jesus is the hope.
Right.
And Teen Challenge is just a tool,
Sure.
that God will use to transform and change
All the
that.
glory goes to him for
Yes,
sure.
yes,
And
ma'am.
you guys, you know, a book I'm going to write, and y'all can't steal this. Okay, just shut the mic off just a second. It's going to be, speak up, Cindy, Entertaining Angels Unaware. And because when I read that,
Talking to the mic.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, now, did you cut the mic off when I said the name? Okay, all right. The book is called, say it again, Entertaining Angels Unaware. When I read that in the Bible, and I thought, what? Oh, probably that's like maybe back then, but it says but you're supposed to be aware because you're going to be entertaining angels that are here, and that you don't know they don't even know they're angels. I don't think. I think probably they're obeying God and they're doing things, and God sees them as the potential angel, and then you're doing all that work for Him, and I think it's exciting to know, that. Of course, there are people though that you deal with that you know for sure they're not there, but anyway, because sometimes he's a naughty boy, but no, you feel like you're not ever going to be worthy of anything, like somebody don't look at me like an angel, because I'm not an angel for sure. I've done things wrong. I can't forgive myself. A lot of people, that's the biggest problem y'all probably come up against. You've got to learn to forgive
Yourself. Yeah.
And how do you do that? How do you process the person through that, Robert?
How do we teach them to forgive themselves?
Yes.
Just about like everything else we do there.
Can you get closer to the mic?
Yeah, almost every other solution to the drugs and alcohol problem is focused on the person that has the drugs and alcohol problem, right? They're focused on the issue, the surface problem, which understandably that's what draws them in, and you can fix that, but it's normally temporary. We focus not on the person, we get them to focus on Jesus.
Yes.
And when they're turning their focus to Jesus, and everything has to do with turning the focus to Jesus and not on themselves, then true transformation starts to happen.
Right.
Because when usually we're in our own way, like with this drugs and alcohol, or just the path that we chose to go and escape our problems. But there's many paths that don't have anything to do with sobriety that still hinder our way from God. And so if we just can get out of our own way of being selfish and self-centered and focus on Jesus, then He can step into our lives and do what He wants to in the first place. And for us, that means transformed and getting sober. But it's so much more than that. Like we're not just taking guys off the street, getting them sober and sending them back out. We're definitely getting them sober. That's like the first few days. Then we're teaching them how to live the way the Bible wants us to live, and teaching them how to do life, like as Christians. So,
If I could interject on that.
Yes, of course.
Just to follow up on that. We talk about this often in our staff meetings, that if we take an individual and they become drug-free, and that's it, we failed them. That the gospel is holistic. It should affect everything, not only in your life, but through your life.
Yeah.
So we look at means that we could minister to their families, however that may look. And sometimes it's not pretty, but we believe that the gospel isn't just you become saved, born again, drug-free, all those things, and now I can live my life in this little protected bubble, and I've got my ticket to heaven. If you want to change the dynamics of a city, of a nation, you have to look at it very holistically of how can I make an impact. We often say that we are not a rehab, although that is a part of an aspect of what we do. Mm-hmm. But it's a discipleship program first, and through that we're creating other disciples. We're very evangelistic in our approach. Quite often we go out and through other partnerships, and that we'll go out and minister on the streets. We'll feed. We'll talk to others and let other people know in the streets that they too can be free.
Right.
They don't have to be here.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Can you tell me, like, how many minutes does it take you to get the feeling of whether this person they're just faking it? Are they really going to do this? Are they believe me? How long does it take you? And do you have to fight that because you know that that's a human, response, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to be patient and I'm just going to keep coming back to this, we're going to keep coming back to this problem? Or do you go, okay, I've given you 7 times 7 and that's it, Bubba. That's all I was told I had to do.
She asked the golden ticket question.
Right.
How do you know?
So is anybody going to answer that?
Well, the Teen Challenge started with a name, with a pastor, named David Wilkerson.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started, preaching the gospel to gang members in New York City, there was a young man by the name of Nicky Cruz. I don't know if you heard about him. But Pastor David, was preaching to him every single day, saying, Nicky, Jesus loves you. He has a plan for your life. And Nicky was just a gang member. He was a bad guy. And one day Nicky got tired of Pastor David, and he said, Pastor, if you come again here and you tell me that Jesus loves me, I'm going to cut you in 1,000 pieces.
And he knew he meant it.
Yeah, and Pastor David said, well, you know what? Every one of those pieces will tell you that Jesus loves you. And that was the first guy that came to Teen Challenge, because it's just, that's what we do. We love people. We don't point at them. We don't judge them. We just love them. We just tell them about Jesus, about
Right.
how they love them too, and how he has a plan for their lives. And that's how Teen Challenge starts. So we don't give up. We just keep going and going and going.
It's great. I love that you'll have a process. You're not going to give up, and that's that's perfect. But if you were having to do this, let's reverse the tables and say that you were using Satan as your person to point them to, and to lift them up to, and tell them that everything will be fine. Trying to sell them on Satan, that to me, would be, how could they choose to go to that life? Because this is what Satan's going to do. He's going to make you believe that all these things that you think about yourself, about these drugs and all this, is perfect. You should do it every day, and this is all, and you'll be happy, and all the things that the snake, certainly, disguises to try and get you to do it. Have you ever thought about what would it be like if that's who I was trying to push onto these people?
Well, that is in Anton LaVey's Satanist Bible. In one of the passages in there, I forget the exact quote, but it is to bring pleasure to thyself,
Right.
serving thyself.
Right.
And that is the difference between what we are offering and what Satanism or anything else for that matter is. They keep you in bondage. They keep you into a servanthood that you could never achieve.
And it's always
Our fatherness is always, he sacrificed his son
right.
for us.
And his deal is, hey, it's instant gratification. This is how I can keep you, because I can instantly gratify you. Jesus, you got to work on that. You got to work on this. You got to work on that. And in time, you may believe in all that. But this can happen right now, and you can have a good time right now. So I think that's what, with kids, trying to talk to kids, especially nowadays. If you had been working on this, for how many years have you been working on the Teen Challenge?
In as far as myself personally, or
you personally, after you had gone through what you had to go through, and then you came around, you said, I'm going to help other people. I'm gonna
30 plus years.
Okay. And in that time, that you've touched a lot of people have turned around, and and that's everything. I mean, that is everything, because it keeps giving your faith stronger, keeps your faith stronger, and the other people around you, their faith comes stronger, because you have to feel like, if I could see my child, my teenager, my grandchild, if I could see them even start to turn around, or even make the statement like, I don't want to do this anymore. Do you do interventions? Is that what, I mean, I know all of it's an intervention in a sense, but I mean, do you do like the TV show intervention where they're surprised? They go like, oh, I thought we were having a birthday party for me. What do y'all want? What are y'all talking about?
We don't normally do that, but I will say that I've done admissions with plenty of people who the family chose to do that before they got them to call me, or they've called and they've come and seen, and then they go home and that person gives this and that excuse, and then they have the intervention if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. And that's actually a really healthy thing that the family's doing. But we don't personally go and conduct the interventions like you see on the show.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad idea sometimes.
Well, have you been to one, or have you?
No.
I just can't imagine that. It seems like it's so incredibly draining while they're going through that, because the person, you see it in their eyes, that there's no way that you're going to get me to not
The
stop
problem
do
with
this.
like you take a show like that,
Yeah.
and an intervention, I don't necessarily say that there's not a place for that, but generally speaking, you're appealing to the mind.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're appealing with the action of the Holy Spirit, where we are appealing to the heart. And so, logic always fails. And that's what a lot of programs don't have the success rate that Teen Challenge does globally, is because we live by, and we submit to, and we operate in the power of God. Most of these programs are operating in self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
If I can do this, then I will be. But it all ends up in failure.
Well, and two, they're so what I can see, touch, feel, and taste. It's what I can believe in, because it's everything that's tactical and things that they can see. And we're talking to them. You're talking to them about a spiritual sense of things that's going to happen, and the power of the God who created this earth. And to wrap their head around that, it takes a lot of faith, but it's once they give in. I mean, I know you've experienced that when they finally let go, of that they're holding on to the world as hard as they can, and it's just and they've got to let go, because everything you're saying is starting to make sense, because the Holy Spirit's really working on
Yes.
working on, because you prayed for that to come to them. And so that is just fascinating, because we have every movie in the book, every trick in the book, every supernatural thing, and kids will believe, well, it's got to happen. It was on the movie. How can it fail? That really happened. And without is it CGI and all the things that they could do, that God must laugh. They really must laugh, because they think that that's a big deal. And he's going, oh, just wait. Just wait. Have you ever looked up in the sky and you've seen the thunder, and you've seen all the things that, the power that you think is all being done by the scientists have told you it's because of all these things happening. But you're going to be so surprised if you don't give in. But that's just fascinating to me. And so you guys get to see that. I'm so jealous. I get to see a lot of changes in people that happen. And when they change around, it's just like, the person who was so heavy, when they start losing weight and they go like, oh my God, I just feel so much more energized. I feel so good. I feel so good about myself and all that. And then to see that same thing happen spiritually to somebody as they're being taken over by that. And it's nothing bad. It's not like you're trying to get them to believe in sacrificing, goats or sacrificing babies or anything like that. You are trying to get them to help their life and their family's life, and that's just,
Well, we're trying to help them become what God has intended for their life.
Right. Right.
The scripture says in Jeremiah that he knew you before you were born.
Right.
Which means he knew the spirit of you in your life long before you were before your parents even met. And so that's where we appeal to, is the spirit of the man, because we realize that it's the spirit that's more real than the physical. Mm-hmm. And change can only happen at its root, and the root is your spirit.
Right. And I think that's when, if you've been with anyone that's died and watched them die and be there as their spirit leaves their body, you know that when they're looking in their eyes, you see they're still there. They're still there, and as soon as they die, that it's gone. That spark of life is really gone, and you go like, okay, so the spirit is gone. Where's the spirit gone? I mean, what happened to the spirit? Is it still floating around? Is it and all those the theories and stuff that happen at that point? Is it going to come back into his life? Because some people do that, they come back and, no, they're not going to come back. That's you got to learn to accept. And that's that little spark that little lesson in life and death. But it just fascinated me to see my grandmother's, her, she was gone. I mean, you knew she was gone because just the way she was looking out of her eyes, you could tell she was gone. But it was such a good learning lesson. Like, okay, and that's part of life. This death is part of life, and we've got to go on. But once it happens, they're gone forever. So when are you going to talk to them about Jesus? Jesus, when are you going to talk to them about it? And I had to do a video about that, about a guy who had all these opportunities to talk to his neighbor, and he kept putting it off because he didn't think he would be ready for it. Just couldn't do it. And then the ambulance comes in front of their house, and it was the most traumatic video to have to do. And it was like fake. It didn't really happen, but they all felt like that was what was going to happen if they didn't go home and call their dad, if they didn't go home and call their grandpa and tell him, you gotta come to Jesus. And so, but it's such a strong urge when you've been brought up in the church and you've been brought up in Christ, and so you see this and you go like, do I really believe it? They believe it so much more than I believe it, because they're out there in the streets and they're talking to people and they're doing that, and I'm not doing that. I should be doing that. And so then you think, oh, good, I'm a woman. They wouldn't expect that a woman to be able to do that. God would say, no, you stay home, take care of the kids and the husband, and then let those guys go out and do it. But you're doing it to the kids, and you've raised the kids up, and then they go out and do it to other, their friends and stuff like that. So we all have a part in playing a part in doing something like this. But I love your concentrated effort, and that you have the processes in place, and that you somebody comes in, they know they're in good hands, and that what you're trying to do is only to help them, help their family, help generations down the road.
And Ricardo here, his family it's generational for him. You may want to share, but about how your family goes out and your young kids and feed the homeless and do things like that.
And see, I'm first generation of Christians. I mean, we could say that. I mean, pastors maybe. But see, I broke the curse, So now my kids, they don't have to go through that because they were raised different, the way that I was raised. Right. So. It's amazing to see that, we're making a difference. At least.
And they're going out and feeding?
Well, yeah, they used to go with me, when I was, So, we used to do that a lot, and we're looking forward to do it here in Houston,
what
too.
were you feeding? How were you feeding?
Well, we had a center in El Salvador for 16 years. I worked there. Yeah, after I, got saved through that center, I stayed there for 16 years, serving others, helping others.
Well, you're going to have to tell Richard, where that is because he's getting ready to go to El Salvador, right? Yeah, he's so excited.
Yeah,
Yes, he's going to El Salvador.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's, I don't know what they're going to be doing there, but a lot of things.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's been talking about it. So I thought when you said El Salvador, that really perked up my ear. So if you were doing that and then you left there, how much of your family, all your family came with you?
My wife, my kids, yeah.
And the kids? Mm-hmm. What about mother and father? Are still
my
there?
mom and my dad stayed in El Salvador.
Stay there?
Mm-hmm.
They're still working.
My mom's still alive. My dad passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So you keep in touch with her?
Yes.
FaceTime her all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is she listening to the show?
Yeah. Probably not. No,
See?
Yeah.
We'll forward it to her.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be on Facebook
I'll tell
in
her.
the Lone Star community and also on YouTube. From here to infinity and beyond, it'll be there. So she'll get to see you.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
You say hi, Mom.
Yeah.
No, that camera right there.
All right. Hi, Mom. But that's the other thing. Now that we're talking about moms, I'm here because of her. So she was a Christian, when I was just doing drugs and everything. And she used to pray for me every single day for 10 years.
Oh.
And here I am. So, if there's any moms, listening to us.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Just
Don't
keep
give up.
praying for your kids and bring them to Teen Challenge.
Now, where are y'all located?
Magnolia.
You're in Magnolia?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a church, freestanding building, or?
We have several buildings. We sit on 5.5 acres of land.
Is that where the Miracle City?
You get the address? Can you get her address?
Richard, the guy that was downtown, the
Miracle
port
City Collective.
Chop.
Are you talking about the collective thing?
It was Chop House in Conroe, main. What's his name? Can you remember his name?
Lucas, the last name?
Yes. Yes.
I don't remember. That's all I know.
Anyway, he was down there in that little place, and they fed the homeless and did all that, and they preached. They had lessons. If you feed them, they will come. Then make them stay and listen to a lesson. And so that's how their strategy was. And so anyway, it grew and grew, and he just blew up. And he now went and got the acreage and built the buildings, and they call it the Miracle City, because Conroe was the name of Conroe before they changed it. So I was just wondering if y'all ever ran into each other or shared the same land or whatever. No.
No.
Okay, you have your own buildings, your own land,
Yes.
and how do they get there? Are you off the beaten path? Are you?
No, well, sometimes a wife will drop off their husband and say, "You better get your life right." So sometimes that, on occasion, it depends on the situation, we will pick up. Sometimes somebody takes a bus.
Mm-hmm.
All different ways. Normally they don't, come knocking on the door. Not saying that we wouldn't take anybody in that. We do have some prerequisites that we try to.
Yeah, to vet
So-
them with.
Yeah, there's certain things that we do, blood workup and a few things. We don't at our center, but we ask that those type of things are done ahead of time, just to ensure the safety of the campus. And
Sure.
others. So there's a few things like that. We try to find reasons to say yes more than no. And you asked a question earlier. We do in that vet process because sometimes people are just looking for 3 meals and a cot, or I just want to do 30 days so I can make mama happy.
Yeah.
So we try to field that out.
Mm-hmm.
There are gentlemen that are in that program that are working really hard, and we try not to disrupt that. So as much as we want to rescue, we want to throw out the big net, we want to help everybody as much as possible. Not everybody wants help. So there's that reality, and there's also the reality of you have to think about how does somebody come in. So the vetting process is very important to make sure that they fit within the culture. So, we have, they sleep together and things like that. You just want to make sure that everything is
Sure.
safe and
Right.
conducive to for a healthy environment. So we have some safeguards. You want to help everybody,
But
but
common
not everybody
sense
wants
tells
help.
you, no, I learned that the hard way. I thought I was helping somebody. I was going to give him my coat, and I thought, and I didn't think at the time, like, oh, Cindy, this is so sweet of you to do this, to give him a coat, just be smiling up there. And so I stopped the car and got out and went over, and it was a pretty big, it was a big coat. And and this guy had a visqueen on his head, like a lawn bag on, and it was cold, and so I thought, oh, this is perfect time. So I went over and I started to put it on him, and he went, "What are you doing?" And I said, I wanted to give you my coat because it's so cold, and you can have it. And I just wanted to let you have this. He took that coat, and he took me and shoved me up against his car, and he said, "Look, if I want a coat, I'll ask somebody. So wait till somebody asks you to help them, okay? That's what we want. We just want to be asked to be helped. And if I don't want to help," and he starts lecturing me. I went, got it. You're right. You are so right. And I was Michael Jackson out there. And so I thought, okay, Cindy, that was really smart of you. I hope you learned your lesson. No, but that's what, Satan would love that. Satan, like, don't ever try and help anybody else again because you got shoved. And so it is probably proper. Yeah, 'cause some people, not everybody's going to want to help. They like the feel of the plastic against their skin, and whatever. And so, and they'd rather have that than be wearing my coat. So it's just think it through, Cindy. Think it through, and just if they say, "Boy, it's cold out here. I wish I had your coat," then you say, "Here, you can have it," and that would be fine. But boy, I thought I was self-righteous. I was good to go to heaven on this one. But anyway, I just looked up and went, "Okay, you taught me. All right, I'll be better." So I think that it's true that because you never want to make somebody feel like they lose their dignity, and if they're and you don't know what shape mentally that they're in, because they may see you as like the enemy and attack you or something, and make you feel like that was really not smart. So you guys have the place to go, and that would have been said, "Let me drive you someplace that you may be better for you," and you can't do that to people. I took a crew out to the forest and started videotaping the homeless people, and these were homeless vets that want to live out and they've done this before, and you go out there with a camera. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Thinking that you're doing, I'm going to just promote this problem, and we can get this settled. We'll get the city people come in here. It was so, and it was scary because they really were much more comfortable there than they started telling all the stuff, all the stories and stuff. And you start feeling like, okay, can we stay here? Could y'all put us up? And they had everything lined out. They were in their house under those trees, and so that was a good lesson for me. But you guys are there, ready to go. Now, in Magnolia is a big place, right? I mean, it's to find you. How do they find you? They go down Main Street, or what street are you on?
Well, I'll let you answer that because I'm kind of new to the city.
Oh, new to the city. Okay.
So we're in, yes, Magnolia is like very widespread. I always tell people that we're really on the edge of Tomball, so we're on that side of Magnolia.
Oh, okay.
Because you drive down the street, you're in Tomball. So we're right there, like off 249, and like you go down, 1774, and past a little bit past 149. So we're right at like 1774 and 249 area.
Okay,
Not
and
too
they'll
far
recognize
from
it
there.
by how close are y'all to McDonald's or Burger King?
Well,
or something?
this is the way I also tell people. We're actually conveniently located right in between two Dollar Generals. So if you pass one, and then you might not have passed us. But if you pass two, like we're in there somewhere in the middle.
Only in
So,
Magnolia that two Dollar Generals. That's perfect.
I don't know. It's comically like right in the middle of two Dollar Generals. I don't get it, but
Here's the address. Can we give the address? or-
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the address right there.
I
So it's
can't.
gonna
You think I
be,
can read that?
30310 Misty Meadow Drive in Magnolia. That's
Yep.
where we are. That's the address. So 30310 Misty Meadow Drive in Magnolia, Texas.
Are you saying Missy?
Misty.
Misty.
Misty. Oh, Misty.
MISTY.
Oh, but okay, Misty. He keeps holding it up like I'm
Yeah.
going to read it now. Now you can read. Where's my glass? Okay. No, that's what I want people to make sure. And if do you have a website? Are y'all into
So we
that
do.
stuff?
We're all over social media. We're really
There you go.
focusing a lot on getting the story out, sharing testimonies of lives being changed,
Perfect.
sharing stories of. We just shot one yesterday with Brother Ricardo here because it is our intent to make our campus bilingual. We
Right.
really want to focus on the Hispanic
Perfect.
community. And so, as I mentioned before, we started this podcast that's part of his mission is to head that up. So we just shot a little video yesterday.
Are y'all on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok.
Okay. See, yeah.
It's the language we speak nowadays. You have to be on
Just-
social media, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, perfect for TikTok because what they grabbed a lot of people with are a guy getting into a car and saying, you know, your mother is somebody you need to listen to. And when she says this, you better do it. I mean, that's how I was brought up, but you need to do what your mother says. She has a hard life. And they start preaching to you. You don't even know, like, what is this about? Are you selling cigarettes or what are we going to end up where? Where are we going to end up? And he just wants to tell you how you need to be better to your mom. And I went, I love this guy. And then they'll get in and say, so your wife got mad at you last night? Yeah, because you're so stubborn. You're not trying to listen to her. And he's doing his thing. So you never know what's going to pop up next. It could be something disgusting or it could be something that's really going to help. But all the kids watch it. And I told them, I said, well, have you seen this person on Facebook? Oh, nobody watches Facebook anymore. Nobody does Facebook anymore. That's just for old people.
I love Facebook.
I know. And Reels, I could sit there and just spend the hours going through the Reels. But TikTok is really so popular.
You know,
so.
it's just that people are looking for an answer,
Sure.
and so that's part of that thumb rule. That they're looking for an answer to fill, and so that's why I try to use social media and introduce the staff and introduce the stories because I know that somebody somewhere is going to captivate their heart.
Of course, and to so that they're comfortable with the staff before they even get there and
Yeah.
feel like they know the staff. That's why I love having y'all on. That's why when we did angelic resale, not rescue. Anyway, when I wanted them to get to know the staff and what they're about and how important this is to them and the community and what good it is. And then that makes them, when they go there, you're a rock star. You go like, I heard you. I heard you. I know you. And they know your heart now. And that's really important.
Yeah, every
Everybody's
single
gonna love it.
person in America, really in the world now, knows somebody in their immediate family, or they themselves are, or I mean, they usually know multiple people that are suffering from the life controlling issues of drugs and alcohol, like abuse, and so like there's no way that like hearing a message about like the hope from freedom, like not a road to recovery, but true freedom. From drugs and alcohol, isn't going to affect every single person's life. I mean, the problem is so big that like the amount of people globally that have a drug and alcohol problem is the same amount of people that live in the United States together. Like that's 340 million people.
Right, and there's so much.
That's a lot. That's a big problem.
And we're so stressed out over everything because we're exposed to all the problems of the world, not just here in Conroe. It's all Russia and China and all that. So we know all about these things that are happening, and that any minute where they're going to blow you up, and you go like, blow me up, go ahead, get out of this place. And so there's a lot of that stress going on, and then you add alcohol and drugs with it, and it becomes like
hopeless.
Ridiculous.
All right.
That's right. No hope.
Right.
Only in the drug. That's where they got to go. But I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for coming here and sharing that. Oh, I love that. Anytime y'all have something going on, or you have someone in your group class that is pretty precocious and would like to share what they're doing and how they were and all that, a young person or anything like that, or someone that's over 70. Just, I saw you. He starts laughing. I'm over 70. So, okay. So anyway, just bring them in and we can talk about it, or if y'all are going to have something you want to promote, let me know.
Absolutely.
We'll put you here, and you can take this radio program and put it on your web page, and it'll be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We do have a gala that is coming up here in October.
In October? Okay.
Yes.
We'll come back. Okay. Can y'all come back and find somebody that you go like, oh, this kid would be great. Let him talk and stuff.
Could I leave the phone number for our campus, because that's the best way to get somebody started with Adult and Teen Challenge. So if they call us, it's 281-259-5600.
5600.
Yep, 281-259-5600.
Okay.
And even if nobody answers on the first couple of rings, they can just press 1 for admissions, and it'll go right to my phone. I'm pretty adamant about answering messages at any time, weekend too.
So it's not going to be.
It all starts with a phone call, right? So.
Hello, press 1 for and 2 for. No, isn't that great that God doesn't have answering service? So you get right to Him, and so that's right. It's great. Prayer's great. Thank you guys again, and bless you. I know that you feel blessed already, but I just am so thankful for y'all that y'all are out there doing that. Thank you. Amen. First responders, we love you. We love you, first responders. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and the police, the firemen, the teachers, the parents. Everybody is a first responder, and y'all are really there, first responding to problems. Okay.
Every week, people ask the same 2 questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these 2 questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, 1-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future, and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952, or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of